Hello there. In this quick tutorial, I'm going to show you all the basic commands you need to use bash. I'm going to show you how you can move folders, how you can find the current working directory, create some simple scripts, and show you all the basic commands you need to interact with the shell. So before we start, let me just quickly explain you three key concepts: the terminal, the shell, and bash. What's the difference between those? So a terminal is a program that is used to interact with a shell. So what I have opened here is just the terminal. In this case, I'm on Windows and I'm using the git bash terminal. If you're on Mac, you could just open your terminal, or if you're on Linux, you can again just open your terminal and you would have something very similar to this. On the other hand, a shell is the command line, where you can type in commands into a terminal window and those commands are interpreted in some way. For example, if I type in ls, I'm going to get the current directories and folders in the location where I'm currently. So this is, for example, a command. So what is bash? Bash is a Unix shell and command language. It was written by Brian Fox as a free alternative to the Bourne Shell. So in order not to bore you more with details in that direction, basically what it is just a command language. It is an alternative to the default, to the shell, and it is the most used Unix shell out there. Okay, let's get started. The first command you should know is the clear command, where you can just clear all your history. It is not really cleared. You could scroll up and see it again, but it creates, it gives you that free window. So let's just type in a few commands to get familiar with it. So one of the most common commands is echo. Echo returns whatever you type at the shell prompt. So it is like a print statement. If you type in echo hello there and press enter, we're going to see hello there as the response. Now there are some other default things you could call, for example, date, which is going to return you the date. You can also type in calendar, which should return a calendar. So in this case, the command is not found since I'm using git bash on Windows. But if you're using Linux, you should get the calendar there. And again, now we can clear the terminal. So there are some other basic commands like pwd, which stands for print working directory. So this is going to output the directory in which I'm currently working, in which I'm currently located. So if we press ls, as we have mentioned earlier, we will see all the folders and files that are in our current working directory. So if I, for example, go to, let's say I want to navigate to some other folder, like let's say we want to navigate to Postman, we're going to type in cd Postman, and then if it again type pwd, we are now having a different working directory since we are in the Postman directory currently. Okay, since we navigated into the folder Postman, let's see how we can go back. We can just type in cd ... and we're going to go one directory back. If we now type in ls again, we are going to see that we can again navigate to the Postman folder. So with cd, we are navigating into, and cd ... we're navigating back. Okay, let's see what the ls command can do else. If we type in lsa, we can see list all hidden files in a folder, which should list more stuff. And if we type in ls -l, that's going to print out a longer and more detailed list of the files. Okay, so you can see there are some dates, some location of those files, and how they can be reached. And if you type in ls and title, then this is a shortcut which denotates the home directory. So from that, we should have all the folders listed from the home directory. So this is something we can do with cd as well. Title, this is going always to get us back to the home directory. Okay, the next thing we can do is organize files. If we type in mkdir, that is going to create a directory. So let's navigate to Postman, type in ls, and as you can see, there is only a files folder in there. And if we type in mkdir and type in something like test, then a folder named test should be created. If we now type in ls, now we have two folders, files and test. Another interesting command is the move command, where we can specify that we want to move a file from one location to another location. So in order to do that, let's create another test folder called test2, and now we should have two test folders. Let's go into the first test folder, and now we want to create a file. In order to create a file, we can use the touch command. Touch is going to create a new empty file. We can call this foo.text. Okay, if we type in ls, now we should have foo.ls in this folder. Let's create another one like touch foobar.text. And if we, for example, wanted to remove this one, we could type in rm, which stands to remove files or directories. By default, it does not remove directories, but if we use the following, rm-r star within a directory, then every directory and file inside that directory would be deleted. So if we typed in foobar.text and now type in ls again, now we don't have the foobar.text, but only foo.text again. We can also, let's create a new directory, test99. And now, as you can see, we have the file foo.text and test99. And let's say we want to remove that directory, we could type in rm directory, which stands for remove directory, and that would remove the test99 directory. So if you type in ls again, you only have foo.text. Okay, now let's go one directory back, type in ls, and we have the file foo.text in test, and let's say we want to move it to test2. So what we could do now is just type in mv. We want to go into the test folder, foo.text, and we want to move it to the test2 folder. I made a mistake here. Sorry for that. Now, if we go to the test folder and type in ls, there is nothing. The test folder is empty. Let's clear the terminal again. If we go into test2 and type in ls, we see foo.text there. Let's do something else. Let's copy the file now. So type in ls again, go back, type in ls, and let's copy cp test2 foo.text into test. Okay, let's navigate to test, type in ls. Now we have foo.text here as well. Let's go back, ls, go to test2, ls, we have foo.text here as well. So let's clear that. Now we are inside test2. Now let's say we want to view files. Let's, for example, say we want to open foo.text. We could type in nano, and this would open an editor. And as we can see, the file is empty. Let's write something like test content into the file. Let's say test content 2. In order to save, press Ctrl X, press Y to save, and enter. Now if we again type in nano foo.text, we can see there is test content too. Now if you don't do any changes, just press Command X and it should go out. This is another aspect that's extremely useful, that helps us to view contents of files. And for that we can use cat. Cat stands for concatenate, and it reads a file and outputs its content. It can read any number of files, and there comes the name concatenate. We have only one file here, so let's create a few more to have more content to read. Type in foo2.text. Now again nano foo2, and we could write something else. Save again. Let's do the same. foo3.text nano foo3.text and write something. Last file. Okay. Now if you list them, we have 3 files here. Okay, great. So let's type in cat and foo.text, and as you can see, it displays the content of our foo.text file. If you type in cat foo2.txt, it's going to display again our content. So let's do the same thing, but for the 2 in the same time. So foo.text and foo2.text. Okay, test content 2 and something else. The cat command displays the content of a file on the screen. This is fine when the contents are, when there is not too much content, but if the file is too big, then this would create a problem. For that, we can use the less command. If we type in less foo.text, it is going to display this in this editor here. So now you have some commands that you can use here. You could, for example, use spacebar to go to the next screen, B to go to the previous ones, slash to search for a specific word, or Q, which would be used to quit. So you always type in colon and then you type in the command. Then there is the man command, which displays the main pages, which are a user manual built by default into Linux. So if you type in man.bash, okay, the command is not found here since I'm using git bash, but if you are on Linux, then you should be able to just see a menu of all the possible commands. Now, another really useful topic are pipelines and filters. The pipe operator, so this here, is a way to send the output of one command as an input to another command. So if I have command 1 that outputs something, and then I have command 2, the output of command 1 would be the input for command 2. A useful example for this is grep, which stands for Global Regular Expression Print, which searches for lines within a given string or looks for a pattern in a given input stream. So for example, we could type in grep. We want to search for the word something in foo2.text. And yeah, there is the line something else. So that's the way how we could search for certain contents inside of the file. And there are much more complex patterns that you could use to search, for example, for repetitions of certain words, if the words are on a certain spot, if they are connected with another word, and so on. Let's now repeat our example. Grep something foo2.text, and let's use our pipe operator with another command vc, which stands for word count. So our first function is going to return us something else, And this is going to be the input for the second one, for the word counter. If we type this in, so we are going to see the following results: 1, 2, and 15. So the word count gave us the number of lines containing the word something. So in this case, this is 1. We could, for example, type in B, which would return the number of total words, which is 2. And for example, we could also type in M, which would return us the total number of characters, which is 15. If we go through this, that's going to be 15 characters. We could also use sort, for example, after this to sort the content of it, but since there is only one line, there is not too much to sort there. Okay, these were some of the most basic commands that you can directly interact with the bash terminal. But what if we have more complex things and we want to, for example, create some type of script that reads something, moves something, copies files, and does more of that stuff at the same time? What we could do then is create a script and write those lines inside of that script. So let's see, we are in the test2 folder. Let's create a new script, and we are going to call this script test.sh. Great. Now let's open this test.sh, and here we can write our commands. We could also, in this case, just open a text editor, or you could use any text editor you would like, something like Visual Studio Code or just a normal Notepad editor. But in this case, we're going to use Nano since our script is not going to be too long and we want to stick to the console exclusively in this case. So in the first line, we need to type in our interpreter. So that's going to be hashtag. Okay, and now we type in our interpreter location, but we need to see where our location is. So I just typed in Control X, Y, and enter to save the file in order to check where our interpreter is. So in order to check this, type in which bash. And in this case, it's user bin.bash. So let's return here. It's going to be user bin bash. Great. Now, if you want to type in some comments, you could do it like that and type in I am a comment. Okay. Now we can, for example, assign some value to a variable. Let's say we are going to call our variable string, and we can assign some value like hello there. Then we could call echo, as you remember from the start, string. Okay, let's save this. Okay, now we can run this. In order to run it, type in // and the name of the file we want to run. This is test.sh. Okay, sorry, I made a mistake there. It should be user. Okay, and let's run it again. So it prints out string, and that's not what we would like to print out, but that's because string is a variable. And since it is a variable, we need to use this $sign here. And now it's going to print out the content that is saved inside the string variable. Let's run it. And now we can see hello there. One thing you also probably need to do if you're running on Linux is run chmod +x and now the name of your file, which is test.sh. And this is for the purpose to give the right permission in order to be able to execute the file. So it depends if you are logged in as the root user or if your user has the right permissions. But if not, you can run this command and then it should be working just fine. Let's open our file again. And as we have seen here, this is, for example, a global variable. So this is our global variable string. But since we can create functions, we can also have local variables. So let's say we want to create a function. We can do that by typing in function bash and open brackets here. And now we could type in something like local. Okay, that's too much space. We could type in something like local, call this again string and name it local hello there. And now we could echo again string, and this should in this case print our local hello there. Okay, now we just need to run the function, and in order to run the function we just need to type it out. It's our bash function, and now let's run it, and now we can see local hello there and we can see hello there. So this is a way how you can write the function, this is a way how you can execute the function, and those are global and local variables. Now, one important thing you're also going to need is passing arguments. So let's say that we want to pass some arguments. Let's create a new script there and call it arguments.sh. Now nano arguments.sh. In order to do that, let's search for that arguments. So for example, for arg1 in, and now is a special character. You type in $ and curly A, and those are going to be the arguments. So when we find argument 1 in our list of arguments, now we can do something, and in this case we are just going to echo it out. So remember, argument 1 is our variable, so we need again the $string, and when we are finished we need to type in done. And so if we run this now, arguments.sh, and we pass some variable like variable 1 and type enter, we will print out the variable 1. And we can do this for more arguments as well. So let's type in variable 2, and we're going to print out variable 1 and variable 2. There are many more things that you can learn here, like working with arrays, using flags, user input, comparison methods, more complex functions, types of variables, and so on. There is a lot more things to do, but those are the basics, and in 90% of cases you are not going to need anything more complex than that. If you need something, you can always refer to the documentation and find those things there. Or probably you're going to have some types of patterns that you need to develop to search for certain words in files. But with this basic tutorial, you should be ready for over 90% of situations. You should know the right commands for that. So I really hope you enjoyed this video and it was really understandable and you could learn something. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the content, consider subscribing and liking the video, and stay tuned for much more content coming to this channel. So again, thank you and have a great one.